Redford. I thought the film is a great story of friendship and redemption, set up on a very important historical time for the world. I would like to know if all these elements attracted you about the story.
Well, those elements were attracted to me. The redemption is always a great element in a drama, and particularly for a character. And I was particularly intrigued by the kind of redemption that this character has, which is to break one of his own life rules to save the life of someone else in a business that doesn't think so much about that. And so I think redemption, friendship is a little trickier thing, because if somebody takes that out of the film, that's good. But it's something that's very hidden between the two characters, because you can't show. Part of the job is not to show affection, not to have emotion, not to let emotions get in your way, because you have to make decisions sometimes that are very harsh and cruel and nasty. Because the world is so dangerous that you live in, and you're out to protect your country's interests of freedom and liberty. Sometimes you have to do almost immoral things to accomplish it. So you can't have friendship, you can't have love interests, you can't have emotions get in the way of the job you have to do, which leaves a very tough character. And you don't have much of an identity. You give that up in order to do your job. So there's a little bit of the loss of your soul. So when you talk about friendship and two characters are working together, you're talking about the bonding of two people having to work together in a dangerous job. It's pretty much like soldiers in a trench. You're fighting a war, you're doing horrible things, you're having to kill people or avoid getting killed yourself. Just the fact that you're there in the same trench together creates a kind of bond which suggests friendship. It's that kind of friendship. It's not an overt, demonstrable friendship. It's kind of hidden.
Nathan is fighting against all odds. I mean, he's part of an organization that at the time is not doing what he wants the organization to do. Can you tell us a little about the contradiction or being part of a CIA and at the same time needing to do something else?
Yes, because it's reflective of the times that they were in. I play a character that was part of the old guard, part of the early years of CIA operatives, where it was much more in the dark, much more secret, much more dependent on human resource and ingenuity and intuition, and it was one big game. It didn't involve weaponry so much. At a certain point, the world changed. The world stage changed. It came around the time the Berlin Wall came down. So when the Berlin Wall came down, that was really the end of the Cold War, which meant the end of a certain kind of enemy that we had had for 30 years. Suddenly the thing shifted. We had more electronic exposition of what was going on. The agency began to lose some of its older people who retired or died. Therefore the game changed and the people changed, and the world stage changed, and the agency became more politicized, and with connections to the military that were visible. We could see that through testimony and so forth. A lot of books were written about the CIA. A lot of articles, movies were made about the CIA. So they were a far more exposed agency at a time when the whole ground was shifting. This film takes place right at that moment, where a man who did things a certain way before, the old way, he took pride in being good at his job, and then suddenly he had to live with a new breed of people that wanted him to do it a different way, which he did not like. So that conflict within the character was very interesting to play, and the relationship between he and a protege he trained, who also decides it's not the way he wants to play it, is what makes the...
Is the protege at a certain level what Nathan wanted to be when he was younger, or is there that kind of relationship?
No, I think that Nathan Muir, was always an independent guy. I think he was trained by professionals, but there were different kinds of professionals in those days. He was a Marine combat veteran who came out of the Korean War and went into the CIA under the notion that it was a higher calling. So he developed another part of himself, his brain.
Would you say that the reaction that the situation in the world today is a consequence of what the U.S. did during those days, 75 to 91 in a way, or?
No, I don't think. First of all, the game is played there. We look at the game of two U.S. agents. But the truth is, the game is played by every country and has been for many, many years. Probably longer by the Soviet Union and the United States, but certainly England has been there for many years. And now every country has its agency, its intelligence agency. And so, whatever is going on today, this is a look at that particular moment in time, but it's not exclusive to us. It's just from the point of view of two guys. But it was going on all over the place. I mean, it was not just that particular moment.
So, Robert, 3 Days of the Condor had a great impact. 1975, a wonderful movie. In a way, Spy Games, would you say it would have that impact as well?
I would hope so. I mean, I don't know what that was a good movie. I enjoyed making it. It was different. It was unusual, and because it was about paranoia. And the CIA in that film was presented as a dark shadow that you didn't quite understand what was going on. It was a great mystery, but it was frightening. It was frightening because you didn't know what was happening, but something big was happening. Here, you know what's happening, but you don't know what the result or the outcome is going to be, and that's what's frightening. So, and it's also a different agency than it was. Even in 1985, it was different than it was in 1975 when I made 3 Days of the Condor. Now it's 1995, now it's almost 2005. So we're already almost 20 years past the time this film took place. So there are a lot of changes that have taken place in the meantime. I don't know what the agency's like now. I just know that it's under a lot of focus because...
What about Brad Pitt, considering that you directed him in River Run Through It, and he was just a kid, and now you guys are working together on the same side?
Different condition, different context. I enjoyed both. I enjoyed directing Brad. I enjoyed acting with him. I like Brad.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,